Building what I wanna, innovate what I'm gonna. You can hate all you wanna, but you're still in your pajama. Now I ain't a prima donna, but I built what I wanna. You can say my vision's wrong, the tune of my song. Broke my thumb, banging to my own drum. Broke my thumb, banging to my own drum. Broke my thumb, banging to my own drum. Hootin' and clapping, boots I am a strapping. A click, click, clacking. Hurrah! Bootstrapping in America. Yeah, bootstrapping in America.
Thomas, we're back, my friend. Bootstrapping in America.
Okay, this is going to be easy because I understand the relationship between Ken and Kentech. Ken, how are you?
Pretty good.
He's Ken Coates. He's the CEO of Kentech. Kentech is an 80-person, what did you call it? Investigative technology?
Yeah, or private detective agency.
Private detective. Yes. Private detectives. I got this whole vision of a private detective.
You're a Flatfoot.
Yeah, I got this whole vision of a private detective.
Yes.
Talk to me. What is this? How'd you do this? How'd you get into this?
Yeah, it's kind of a weird way how I kind of came about it. My background is actually technology, so most people think my background would be in law enforcement. But I come from technology, and what we do is kind of a unique hybrid of what we call high tech and high touch. So the high tech part in terms of aggregating the data that's out there, so whether it's credit reports, motor vehicles, things like that. Then on the high touch side, we still believe in the old Barney Fife way of investigation. So, boots on the ground. We hire a lot of former CIA agents, FBI, that actually go out and speak with people.
So I got to start over for a second. I got to get this background down because I got to know who the hell comes.
Hold on a second. Just so you know who you're dealing with, I went to John Jay College of Criminal Justice for 3 months.
Okay.
In Manhattan. So
Where's
be
your
careful what you
certificate?
say. I'll be checking you.
Where's your certificate now?
I got to figure this out. You're a local. You grew up here in Chicago.
Yes.
You went to school in Illinois, the whole deal.
Yes.
And you studied. You said philosophy.
Yes.
So how do you become a technologist from philosophy?
It's kind of, it's kind of a unique intersection. I think philosophy, well, let's even go beyond that. My background is actually music. I was a musician, so I consider myself a creative. Drums.
Okay.
In fact, I was.
We got a drum set up in front.
Yeah. I wanted to bring it in and do a couple
if Jules knew what he was doing, we'd be having you out there right now playing drums.
Exactly. I could have did the intro music.
Do you still play?
Yes,
Okay, cool.
I do. On the side, I don't.
Every dev we have here is a musician.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Everything from trumpet to sax to they play everything.
Wow, we need to get a band together.
Oh, yeah, we got a band here. You
can
do
do?
The Wheelhouse Band.
Oh, yeah?
Sure.
We need to
You're
talk.
welcome to come.
We need to talk.
You guys don't have a band?
No, I think it's me, maybe a singer here and there that's kind of shower singer, but
Tony is the best singer you've
100%.
ever seen.
tell.
Amazing. I have a cold right now, so you can't really hear it, but I can hit some notes.
Oh yeah, you
Forget about
get that smooth crooner look. I can tell.
Yep.
Oh God, you have no
100%.
idea.
Like this guy already.
So I'm going to fast forward. And when did you first come up with the idea for Kentech?
Oh man, it was kind of a zigzag with coming about it. In 2006, when I was leaving corporate, I had started just doing small business like Soho, small business home office and support, network support.
Right.
Started into websites. From there, I used to work at Equifax. That's kind of how I knew about the whole background check thing. And it was kind of a unique time. At the time I was working at Equifax, I had friends and family that would come to me, ask me questions regarding, hey, can you hook me up on this credit thing? I got this one little thing,
I got this one little thing, just so you know.
Yeah, and then we saw after 9/11, the Patriot Act, Homeland Security, it brought such an intense scrutiny on one's background. So it wasn't so much about the credit, but it was about the criminal. So now you couldn't get a job, you couldn't apply for an apartment, licensing, education, everything was affected.
Right.
So my first venture was called ArrestFree.com, and essentially what that was, it allowed...
Arrest Free?
Yes.
Okay.
And it allowed people to self-discover public information that's about them, look at it, and then determine if they were eligible for any kind of record relief in the form of expungement.
Do you still have that company?
We ran into a couple legal battles, entanglements in terms of, what they call an unauthorized practice. Yeah, UPL.
Can you check on Tony, though?
We can do that.
We'd like to know.
We can't expunge his record every time.
Sure, please do. But
How are you with parking tickets? Can you do that? We'll start low, we'll go high.
You're right.
Okay,
right.
so I'm catching the picture now, and so it evolves organically. Because what's fascinating about this is, an 80-person firm. You're in what? Are you in 4 cities right now?
Yes.
80-person firm, 4 cities, bootstrapped from day one.
Yes. Yeah.
So you come from very wealthy parents?
Not at all. Just the opposite. From the south side of Chicago. Where's my guitar? I can play some blues for you, but
You gotta suffer if you want to sing the blues.
yeah. But everything was organically. I think when I initially launched it.
How much you start the company with? How much money did you
I
have?
want to say 20 grand, maybe.
20 grand.
Yeah,
That you had saved up from the corporate world.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. 20,000 and in fact, I joke and tell people we were more profitable than Microsoft in our first year. We made like 20 grand, I think. They made 15,000, I think, their first year. But from there, just kind of what we exponentially, grew, from.
And so you obviously, if you haven't raised any capital, you've been making money right from the start.
Yes.
That's really interesting. And who are your customers? I'm just curious.
Yes.
Who are your customers? Like, is it mostly businesses, personal, government? I don't know.
Yeah, all of the above. We originally started with the government. Actually, we started with the consumers with the arrest-free deal, and then we got into government, kind of doing a hybrid of what we started with arrest-free, and then your traditional businesses. So your businesses that are looking to hire people, want to vet and make sure that, from a regulating compliance point, that person is up to snuff. So we do a lot for financial firms, banks like Prudential, couple firms here, startups, and on the government side, we work with a lot of government agencies. So in terms of vetting people that are looking to hold a position of trust, so with law enforcement, so that goes beyond your traditional background in terms of like, okay, let's run a criminal, his credit, and maybe call on his employer.
So are you a tech company?
I would consider that we're a hybrid of both high tech and high touch. So the work we do with everyone, I think it's about a 60-40 split. So
Okay.
60 is on the high tech side, and then 40 is on the high touch.
Okay, so we have this vision of this is a really cool space and
Yes.
stuff, but is it a really cool space, or are you just getting paid for doing all the dirty work?
Yeah.
You're doing a lot. It sounds like a lot of it's a grind, and
Yeah.
it's just you have found a niche.
Yes, yeah. It's interesting. I mean, in a million years, if you would have asked me, being a musician and a drummer, trying to be the next, Ringo Starr to I'll be doing this, I would have never guessed. I would have never thought, in a million years. But since that, that I'm into it now, it's kind of along that same line of being a creative. I mean, I love talking with people. And in fact, our slogan is "Go with who you know." So it's not necessarily background checks is connoted as being something derogatory. It's about just going with who you know. I mean, that person can have a record and it's like, and I will still hire him, but it's just knowing exactly who that person is.
Hey, Ken, I gotta ask you one question. Do things really disappear after 7 years, or are they there forever?
They're there forever.
So when I tell my kids it's on their permanent record and stuff like that, it really is on their permanent record.
It's
I'm not lying
really
to
on
them?
their permanent record. In fact, that's the misnomer that people have, unlike a credit report that can fall off in 7 years on the criminal side. Even if you were not convicted, it stays with you forever.
Do you have kids?
Yes, I have a daughter.
You have a daughter?
Yes.
She's scared to death of you that you're going to hunt down all her information.
She
That
knows.
you know everything about her.
Exactly. She knows with her social books and
So
social media.
you put the fear of God in her that
Exactly.
way. Oh,
Yeah.
I like that.
Yes.
So let's talk about. We got a few minutes left. Let's change gears for a second.
Okay.
And talk about you running a big business, an 80-person firm, 4 different cities. And I'm assuming you're still the visionary.
Yes.
What do you do? How do you prioritize everything?
Man, I'm learning. That's the thing with this new, phase, trying to get to that next level. I'm learning now, because you start off in kind of an entrepreneur endeavor. It's just like, risk reward. You want to go out there and do it. And now that we've kind of maintained, some.
Yeah, but you go from managing yourself to managing other people.
Exactly.
A lot easier to manage yourself.
Yes. And that's the quandary that I'm in now. So if you guys have some tips, because I'm here now and it's more of an operator. I'm, doing a lot of operations. So
Yeah.
I'm slowly getting back into visionary and strategic thinking.
You basically, at some point, you hire an operator.
Yes.
I mean, and it's a tough decision. You have to, you're probably like every other entrepreneur where, you're a control freak and you want your hands in every part of the business.
Yes.
And at some point, you've got to cut the cord and, you can't do everything.
Yeah. And fortunately, a great thing, I have my wife, actually. She works with me. So she's a fashion designer. We're both entrepreneurs. We work in each other's business. She's my VP of operations. I would say I was going to say.
Did you check her out?
Yeah, checked out real good. Yeah, I did.
Bring her here. I'll check her out real good too. See how it goes.
Yes.
VP of operations. He's gonna make sure everybody's, it's cool.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't even want to get into the issues that could happen.
Yes.
But you still need. We call it. In our business, we call it independent occurrences and non-correlated occurrences.
Okay.
You and your wife are a correlated occurrence in our world.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
So it's
yes.
called a non-correlated occurrence. It's kind of like that, the yin for the yang type thing.
Yes.
And so I think that's probably where you guys are off to very quickly. It sounds like it. How's your growth been the last couple of years?
Man, it's been phenomenal.
Really?
That's the thing. It's a good and bad thing, I guess, in the background. It has, intense scrutiny continue to pervade. I think that's one of the.
That's never going to go away.
Yes.
How could
security.
it?
Even in the sharing economy, we're finding interesting opportunities, with this idea is what we're looking to push out now, because in this sharing economy, we believe trust will be that currency that will usher along that new sharing economy. So whether it's Airbnb or companies, Rover, if someone's walking your dog, you kind of sometimes leave it up to these companies to kind of vet. But
do they really vet? And what kind of job do they do?
Yeah,
It's like somebody like me, let's just say, or Tony, and let's say we're thinking of hiring, like a perfect example, a dog walker.
Yes.
Right. Just I want somebody to come walk my dog.
They need the keys to your house.
Keys to my house.
They need the code.
Like what's like? Is that where we're going? Where I can check on that person through you guys?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We would be basically the commercial products that we provide to the government. It will be available to the everyday consumer. To really take advantage and the vet. And it's not to throw like the boogeyman is out there to get you type stuff, but it's just looking beyond the surface, really knowing who that person is.
He's Ken Coates, and he's the CEO of Kentech. And,
Which you wanted to name Tasty Trade. Tom Trade.
Tom Trade.
But I DK'd it.
Tom Trade,
TT Trade.
So you have a better work life than he does.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much for spending,
you,
a short period of time with us this morning. And now that we know you're local in Chicago, as we watch you guys grow up, like every year or something, every 2 years, we'd love to have you back on the show just to talk about your growth. It was an awesome interview. Thank you.
Thank you
and
so
Ken,
much.
sit tight. Don't go anywhere, because I got somebody I want you to check out and need some dirt on him.
Okay.
We'll be back in about 3 minutes. We got Good Trade, Bad Trade next. Listen to Taste Trade Live.